right.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Foots.
Um,
We're
people
doing
been waiting for this.
look, we're doing something a little bit experimental here where we're trying to figure out how to go live at the same time. And he's fine. I'm not. I don't know if I'm live right now. I don't know what's gonna pop up as the title. So I'm gonna be editing things and making sure everything's right. Hi, Foots.
Jeff, we haven't spoken in a while, and what an intro! Because it's crazy because I see everything you're doing with Jesse. I actually catch every game, and I just randomly hit you and said, Jeff, I want to talk to you before we play the Eagles. And amidst the Texas Rangers winning, you said, let's talk.
Yeah, I did. And now, hey, Foots. Hold on. Hold on. Could not access the specified channel or stream key. Foots, don't worry about it. We're just gonna talk. But while
Let's
we're
talk.
talking, I'm gonna be in the background, looking for my stream key,
Yeah,
and we're just not gonna worry about it. The Cowboys Eagles though, that's fun. Here we
we
go. Whoop.
we
It
want
did it
well,
again. I lost my cursor again, Foots. My mouse cursor goes away when I do this with the stream thing. Whatever, we're just gonna do it. Just send me the file afterwards. I'll upload it. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
we're gonna send Jeff the file, y'all. We've been trying to get this right. That's why we've been late. But hey, Jeff, on the good side, the Texas Rangers won the World Series.
The Texas Rangers did win the World Series, and it was great, and it was lovely, and it was beautiful because I love the Texas Rangers. They're actually my original favorite sports team, so I'm very happy about my Rangers.
Listen, when I reached out to Jeff, I said, Jeff, can you do it this day? He said, no, Foots, it's in a good day because I'll be too locked in on baseball. And I'm actually happy because I feel like there's a lot of OG Rangers fans. Like you're one of them. Um, a couple of my other buddies in Texas are, and so just the fact that you guys knocked that out the park is amazing. How you feeling, buddy? Mental
I'm,
check in, life, how's everything? Forget football.
um, I would say everything is everything. Most things are good. Work
Hmm.
life is good.
Hmm.
I haven't streamed or gone live or made enough YouTube content, but that's okay because work life is great. So lots of things are good.
Hmm.
Some things are always a work in progress, but for the most part, things are very good. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff, and it's crazy because I actually really tap into your content around draft time because you're one of the OG draft nerds on the YouTubes and in the Dallas community. So shout out to you for that. But Jeff, these people want to figure out how can we beat Philly, right? And I want to give them thoughts on both the offense and the defense. Just a check in, Jeff. I know this is going to be a loaded question, but we kind of got to do that since we haven't talked in a while. Jeff, how do you feel about this team as a whole? This is crazy. This is a loaded question, but I just want your thoughts. The Dallas Cowboys, right now, we didn't do anything in free agency. We haven't. Mike McCarthy's running a new offense. I have my thoughts. I want to get your thoughts right now. Take your time. Don't rush this. How do you feel on us as a whole, just right now, where we are? Yeah.
Uh, Man, I think it's impossible. Because I think so many different things are true about
Hmm.
this particular Cowboys team. And I think the San Francisco loss was so bad that even people who don't overreact to stuff, it really took the wind out of a lot of people's sails, including mine. Where
Whoa,
it
whoa,
was
whoa. We got to stay there. Jeff, when you say went out of your cells, no hope, you weren't happy.
um that was the first time that I kind of thought they were going to extend Dak this offseason, and I still think they will next offseason. But after the San Francisco game was the first time that I thought, you know what, they might just roll with a 58, $59 million cap hit next year and then see.
Hmm.
Like it felt like, that you were going up against the measuring stick and you got smoked in every single way to where it was like, oh, okay, you are clearly number 3 in the NFC at best. Um, so in that way, it was like, okay, you failed miserably in the measuring stick game. And so expectations for you, it changes everything. Like, is this the last go around of Dak even, which I'd never considered? You have a really good quarterback. You just extend him and you keep trying your best. And I still think that's the most likely thing. But I do remember the week after where I was like, they didn't do it this offseason. I kind of thought they would. And if this is what you're going to get and this is where you are, you might have to be like, okay, how can I redo this on the fly? because Jerry's not going to rebuild.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that was the first time I'd even considered that idea with Dak. It had always been a foregone conclusion. They're like, they'll extend him. They're not going to carry that cap number. And then it was just like, holy crap, that was so bad.
It was awful.
That
on live TV, it was bad.
That was bad.
I mean, on national TV, excuse me.
But then you add in all the other context of the season, which is this is a universal truth in football. Okay teams don't beat the crap out of people. Yeah. Like, and they might once, but like Bill Barnwell every year does his article on who is going to, make the biggest improvements this year and who's going to take the biggest step back. And all he uses is point differential. That's it. And he nails 90% of them, because if you're blowing people out, that's not normal in the NFL. What's normal in the NFL is 1-score games. If you're beating people by 20, 30, 40 points, you're a good team. And if you've done it, what 5 games this year? How many other games this year have they beat?
40-0 Giants, 30-10 Jets, 38-3 Pats, and then
last week, I mean, that was a 3-score win. 43-20.
So the Cowboys are good. They're very good. And it took getting another reminder, and it doesn't matter. Like, people are like, oh, but this team sucks and this team. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. Like, if you really think the Chargers are awful or the Rams are awful, you're wrong. If you think they're going to miss the playoffs and they're just okay, that's fine. And that's probably fair. So yeah, if you are just beating the dog ass out of people and covering the spread by 10, 20, 30 something points, you're a good team. And last week you finally got to see that Mike McCarthy is evolving, or at least adjusting as he goes through a season with his offense, with what he's doing with his receivers, with the motion stuff, with all the different things. And so it's like, okay, so you do still have a good defense, an opportunistic defense. The offensive line's okay. The quarterback's good. The best receiver's good. I don't know about the rest of them. But like, no, there's enough here where it's like, okay, you're back on track. Where who's better, Cowboys or Eagles? I have no idea. Let's find out. Let's play.
And this is why I wanted to bring Jeff Cavanuagh, guys, on the channel, because not only just a great football mind, but my friend. Jeff, what you said to me makes so much sense, because,
what was that week? That was week 4. No, it was week 5.
The sky was falling. You lost to Purdy. Purdy was now Joe Montana. And now.
But now he sucks. Now he's awful.
And now he's awful. He actually, quite frankly, the worst quarterback in the league.
Ever.
They've lost 3. And so it's just amazing how, if nothing more this year, Jeff, really is a week-to-week league. Like, and I think that's kind of what I've seen, even with Philly. The problem is Philly hasn't lost games. But I do see a team that can be had. I see a secondary that can for sure be had. And I want to get into that a little bit later. But let me ask you this, Jeff. You said something about Mike McCarthy. I don't understand why it has to be Mike's bad, Dak's bad. Why can't it be offense takes longer to develop? Because it does. Like, offense is actually down in the NFL. I was listening to The Athletic the other day. I was listening to a good point Nate Tyson made, is offense is down. Offenses are down, Jeff. Scoring is down. EPA, all these things. And so offense takes longer to gel. Defense, reactionary, go hit, run, be fast. Offense, it takes longer to gel. Early on, even in the Cowboys' big wins, it was clearly 3-step, West Coast, ball out. No 5-step, nothing over the middle of the field. Do we think that Mike has said, you know what, let's let Dak just play football? Let's let him play football.
I think he has at least embraced the idea of why my struggle with what they did early in the season is there's a clear thing that happened in the first few games. Mike McCarthy was coaching the way that he was talking, which I didn't believe him when there were things that he said, like, I want to run the ball and we're a defensive football team. And like, those are stupid things to say.
Yeah.
In today's NFL, those are dumb.
Right.
Yes, I want to play good defense. I want to have the best defense. But the idea that like your offense is this weird thing that's supposed to try to find, how can I best support the job that you're going? No, go score points. That's how you best support me, is you go score points.
Right.
And for the first 3 games when games were still in the balance, when your odds to win or your win percentages were within a reasonable range. They were a very run intensive team on early downs, even though they weren't very good at it.
Yeah. And still haven't been.
Right. And so it's like, okay, but it's 3rd and long. Go save us, Dak, and let's see what happens. And he did a lot. The last few weeks, it's clearly been last week, especially, I believe if you go 1st and 2nd down only, it was 31 passes, 18 runs. Yeah. They were doing, what we're going to try to do is get a 1st down or a touchdown. And that's going to be our plan. That's a better plan for NFL football, is how can we score points? And the one thing that I don't like that it took him until last week to do is we both spend way too much time on the internet looking at all the numbers that people churn out.
Yeah.
Before last week's game, or maybe it was before 2 weeks ago, the Cowboys were okay at, yes, they put guys in motion. If you're going to tell me if you're in man or zone, sure, I had a guy trot across the formation. Yeah. But motion at the snap, they were one of the bottom in the league.
Yeah.
And last week they did it more than 3 times as much as they normally do.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the bare minimum stuff. My bare minimum stuff is if there's something that when you look around the league, it is universal that it makes your offense better, I demand you do that.
Yeah, do it.
And the teams that do that, it's very clear. It's Miami, it's Kansas City, it's the Rams, I'm missing in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's the best offenses. And they do it a lot. And the Cowboys did it almost none. And so I love the little wrinkle of Jake Ferguson, kind of
the little push motion, and then
just
hit CD and just get that information. And you know what, Jeff? And you just, I feel like you kind of just answered your question about San Francisco. You just got out schemed. I think that what happened was, I love Dan Quinn, but I mean, he got taken to school as well. I don't think it was all Mike McCarthy. Now it doesn't help. It doesn't help when, your defense gets a stop and then they're back on the field and, you're 3 and out, or just the play calls. I mean, nothing over the middle of the field. You kept CD right in the middle of the field. And I give Mike McCarthy credit because last game, I think it was 27 snaps on the edge and then 25 snaps on the inside. A good balance of, hey, if teams, because what's happened is now they've countered what you want to do. And so you want to keep CD in the slot, and you want to run routes over the middle of the field against teams' worst defenders. Well, now they're keeping eyes on that. You have Fred Warner robbing them, and like he did, and I mean that's what they do. They run that cover 3, and they just rob all game, and that's what he did. And so you can actually put him on bad corners on the edge because you don't play that many good corners. And so I like what they did this week against the Rams, but like you said, the motion, that push motion with Jake Ferguson, it's those little things. I mean, it's just a simple motion, and they ran against the Chargers and they ran against the Rams. Those simple things, Jeff, will help this offense look more 2023-ish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the other thing was like the play we're talking about with Ferguson would be CD's on the same side as Ferguson. So on that play, he would be playing Z, not X. The other thing was putting CD at X by himself and all the bunch of guys over here because
3-by-1.
And I get why or even 4-by-1 sometimes.
Yeah.
But I get why if I'm an NFL offensive coordinator, my best guy is playing the slot a ton.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest way to not get pressed. It's the easiest way to try to hunt a matchup. It's the easiest way to do lots and lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah.
The problem was, and why I'm happy that they came to the realization and started putting CD like his or slant, which I don't know what broadcaster's like, oh, he ran a corner post. I'm like, whatever, dude. He ran a slant with a good setup.
Yeah.
But I think that exists because we've seen like when you run CD in the slot, whichever side he's on, it's also easier to pay attention to him over the top. It's easier to clutter him up underneath, which in theory would mean that, okay, you want to devote a lot of attention to my guy that's in the slot. That means whoever's on the other side of the field is going to eat because they're one-on-one.
Yeah.
Cowboys couldn't because Michael Gallup couldn't win.
Michael Gallup's on the other side.
He couldn't win on a slant against man coverage. And then in the first quarter of that game last weekend, Tolbert got a shot at a slant against single man coverage. Couldn't get open. And it's like, my God, CD has to do all of it.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go be the X that if I can put a bunch over here and get Dak with his eyes to hold one safety, he'll eat.
Yeah.
And if it looks like you're not going to do that, like CD's going to have to be Micah Parsons, where it's like you have to move him around and not let them know where he's going to line up.
Yeah.
Because if he's always in the slot, well, then they'll just single cover a guy who they're like, you can't beat us, which is not okay in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you're an X or a Z wide receiver and you get man coverage, you win. That's the rules. But if you can't, well, then now CD's the only one who can do that. And he's the best one in the slot to get your matchups and win over the middle. And so he's going to have to dance around and do a lot of things. But yeah, I wish they never had to go to CD Lamb playing X.
Yeah.
Because I love your best weapon playing in the slot.
Yeah.
But he kind of has to, because if he doesn't, the X doesn't win. And that sucks.
Yeah, no, and I think, and that's why I've been actually looking at a lot of receivers in this draft. It's actually looking early on. It's a
You're
really
already
nice.
going?
I know. I can't help it, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Florida State kid?
Oh my God, Keon Coleman's so good. I like Adunze too. I like the kid from Washington. Obviously, we have no shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. unless we give him a gun and tell him to go rob somebody, and then we'll just take him to Dallas.
I don't talk about the Harrison family.
Oh, you know what? I should never. You know what? That you guys didn't hear that. Anyway, let's give a few shout outs to everybody in the chat, man. 2i, what's up? You're doing great work. 2i, we love you, Aisha Morrison. Judas Redemption. You got a lot of fans in here, Jeff. Jose Jacobo, Maurice Lightburn. Guys, we were trying to get live on Jeff's channel. He wasn't able to do it. He failed. But thank you guys for sticking in here with us. JP, Raymond, Kelvin. Jeff, they want to talk Eagles, but I want to stay real quick with one of your points. I do believe that Brandon Cooks is the answer. And I'm going to tell you why. I think that moving CD on the edge and now just going back traditional, and where now you have, because he's gonna rely on resources. If you leave CD Lamb by himself, or let's just say James Bradbury, and we'll get to the Eagles because there's a lot of holes in that defense.
If you leave him by himself with James Bradbury, CD has 303 touchdowns.
Maybe 403 touchdowns.
And it's not like Bradbury's bad, but you're talking about a real life top 10 wide receiver in football against an okay starting corner.
Oh my God, I love CeeDee Lamb. I don't think he's been used correct. It's sad that I really don't think that he hasn't reached his potential. And so to me, what now has to happen is Brandon Cooks has to become more consistent. And what I mean by that is he has to be better, but then Dallas has to use him better. Overs, Jeff. Why are you running Brandon Cooks on a 5 and out? He can run. Let him run. And that was my issue with the offense early. It was like 3-step, ball out. 1-step, ball out. Hello. This guy is still a sub 4.4, 4.3 guy. I know he's a smaller athlete, but let him move. Let Turpin maybe work the middle of the field. And I do like the connection that Dak and Ferguson have seemed to build. And it seems, and this is actually going to be one of my points that I get to, but does Cooks do nothing for you, Jeff? What's your thoughts?
I'm struggling with Cooks so far this year.
You're struggling with Cooks. Why, Jeff? I want to fight you on that.
Okay, I'm struggling with Cooks and because of two things. And it's hard because he has a track record that goes a long, long time that says I just get 1,000 yards. It's what I do. And I loved him. Like in camp, it was like, oh, look, another 50-yard pass to Cooks. And so, yeah, sure, we haven't seen what we saw in camp where you had a lot of attempts down the field to him, and he's wasting a lot of time running flies that aren't even being looked at. I think for me, it's more of a NFL outlook philosophical thing that I really started thinking about last week when I was getting really frustrated with the fact that whoever they put at X, if it's not named CeeDee Lamb, he can't get open on a slant route. And then when CeeDee scored his first touchdown, it's like, I think there's a really important trait for my NFL wide receivers that CeeDee Lamb has. And I don't know if anyone else on the roster does. And if they do, it's probably Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah.
And it is just when you watch the fluidity of how a dude sets up a route, like CeeDee Lamb, when he's going left, right, left, it's almost like
the hip movement is crazy.
Like an NBA guard with a crossover.
Yeah, just
and it's
he can move you. Yep. Boop, boop.
Can you create space for yourself?
Kyrie Irving-esque.
Yes. Can you create space for yourself? Do you have that wiggle and that sort of lateral ability? And Brandon Cooks is kind of built tight in there and has muscles and stuff. And so, like, I think you have to figure out how to maximize things that are go, stop, dig, deep over.
Over.
I want
Jeff,
all my guys
over.
to have this. I want all my guys to have the CD where it's like, I don't care what I tell you to run. You can beat man coverage because you're that sort of fluid athlete and route runner. And I feel like Gallup and Cooks are both sort of this more tightly wound. I go straight and I one cut.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can make that work better. But yeah, it's probably a lot of it is just the results they've gotten so far and probably in the way that they've used him. But I'm like, I want my guys to be able to do things that I don't see guys on the Cowboys being able to do other than CeeDee Lamb. And Brandon Cooks, I don't know if this has been your whole career because I haven't watched close enough.
Yeah.
Don't Terrence Williams me. Turn your hands over and reach forward.
Well, the one who I think we're actually waiting to unlock, and you saw him against the Rams, was Turpin. I just think he's so fast. Like,
he made me mad. So I started campaigning for Turpin. As soon as he, what did he do? He had one catch, not the touchdown 2 weeks ago. I think he had one catch, or maybe it was a jet sweep. I don't even remember. He did something in the game.
Yeah.
And I began my campaign. I'm like, okay, here's a dude that if you line up one guy in front of him, good luck. Like, he'll find a way. He'll get somewhere. And then he false started.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's why they won't give him receiver snaps. Because it's like we are asking for him to move him around, gadget, deep threat, do all the different things. And they're like, he can't stand there without false starting.
Does he know the scheme? Does he know what he know? Yeah. I think that's the stuff that we don't know because we're not in the building. That's like you said, even with that move that CD ran, you got Twitter experts, and it's like, dude, he just ran a 5-step slant. Stop acting like you're. Anyway, Jeff, to me, I look at this Philly team, and I don't see the same team as last year. I wrote down a bunch of notes on them. I actually finished their defense versus the two games that I really saw, just TV copy that I want to go back and watch all 22. I said I watched the Patriots game, and then I watched both Washington games, and I watched those live. So that's 3 games. And then I watched those all 22 wise. And when I tell you they struggle with speed, Jeff, they struggle with speed. I mean, this is their defense we're talking about. I thought defensively last year that they handled the middle of the field a little bit better. This year is just awful. I know that they like Reed Blankenship. I see him a tick late, and I know that their DC Desire, whatever, he likes to disguise certain things, but he wants to get back to cover 3, and sometimes he runs some palm stuff, but he wants to get back to cover 3. To me, Jeff, the person that I want to attack on this defense is Nakobe Dean, James Bradbury. I want to stay away from that front, but I do think that you do have to run the ball. I don't think that you could go in and just throw the ball on every down. Never run the ball, Jeff. I think that you have to run the ball. I think you have to at least stay honest. But the last person that I want to speak on, Jeff, is Jake Ferguson. It took me a long time to come around to this because he got on my nerves so bad against the Giants. Jeff, did he get on your nerves in the Giants game? He just irritated me. They all did.
He dropped a touchdown in that game, right?
Yeah, he did.
Was that a drop touchdown game? The tight end room wasn't having a great run through 3 or 4 weeks. But I always thought Jake Ferguson had kind of the stuff to become a dude.
He's become one.
And I think he's becoming one. I think he's becoming a dude. And I think to your point earlier about offense can take a little longer to get together, I think Dak and Dalton Schultz were so same page, simpatico.
Yeah.
That like when he threw to Dalton Schultz, you were talking about, I don't know, 75, 80% of the targets were caught. And Ferguson through, whenever I looked it up, it was like 4 or 5 weeks, was like in the 50 somethings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Like he's a solid player. And I think that's just a matter of Dak had been throwing to Dalton Schultz forever. And there was no doubt whatsoever. They were seeing the same thing. They were on the same page. And I think that's coming around. Yeah. And Ferguson's got enough at every level to be kind of dudeish.
Oh, I think he has a better skill set than Dalton Schultz. And I'm a Schultz guy. I mean, I loved him when he was at Stanford the whole nine, but I think that Ferguson has some of that wiggle that you're talking about. Oh, Fergie got it. It's hey Ferguson, why did you just drop that? Hey, why aren't you where you're supposed to be? Now that's starting not to be an issue. Now you're attacking the seams. And so to me, I want to attack the middle of this defense. Now, they run a lot of down, like 5 down linemen to where it starts off in the forefront, then Hassan Reddick will walk down, even when they got a nose, and Biotis is gonna have he has to bring his lunch pail because they'll just put Jordan Davis right over him, and I know, and he's light as well. But Jeff, how do you want to attack this Philly defense? Because I'll tell you this, they can be had. You're not gonna be able to just quick step, ball out, play action, 2-yard pass. You have to literally press the ball down the field. Obviously, they know that we want to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, so somebody else is going to have to win. How do you want to attack them, Jeff Cavanuagh?
I think it is what they got to do is I do think that they're a team you throw the ball all over the place. You run the ball when they beg you to run the ball. If they are clearly playing with more than 3 deep and you feel like you've got numbers or you've got something in the bag that you're going to get you 5 yards, great. But if you're running it and your first 3 carries are for 1, 2, and 1, don't. Just let Dak run when there's nothing around. I think you throw it around on them. I don't think that their corners have played well this year.
They haven't.
I don't think I'm with you on Blankenship. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
Byard, who they traded for, is not what he was.
That's the biggest, and this is what I wanted Cowboys fans, and I know everybody's pro free agency, and I get it, Jeff. But Kevin Byard hasn't been playing good football. He hasn't been playing good for football since about mid-year last year. That's been like a thing.
But I think their safeties have been bad enough that both things are true, where he's not what he was.
But he helps them.
Okay. He helps them be better at safety. But no, I think the biggest thing that matters is, can you give Dak a chance consistently with Sweat, Reddick, Carter coming after him? Can you just give me enough time that everything we do doesn't have to be catch, throw, catch, throw? I got to have more time to make stuff happen down the field. I got to have more time to let plays develop. And if you can give me that, I think I can shred them.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking the snap and Jalen Carter already whipped somebody's ass, we're in trouble. If I take the snap and Terrence Steele isn't holding up against one of those dudes off the edge, I think that is the wild card, because I do trust that Philly's offense, just because they have running quarterback, 4th and 1's a gimme. Like, they have a lot of things, I think, going for them, even though they haven't played great football this year either.
And you said running quarterback, design run, Jeff. We got to talk about that when we talk about their offense. I don't know.
Yeah, Cowboys aren't good at that. They're not good with design run quarterbacks.
But he hasn't been keeping the ball, Jeff.
Yeah, well, guess what week he will. Guess which week he'll be like, okay. Although I don't know. Last week he looked like he was hurting.
They say that's a real thing. They say the knee is a real thing. He was hurting
last week after a few plays.
Yeah.
But no, so for the Cowboys, I just think the biggest thing is the absurdity that the Eagles got to get Jalen Carter. Micah Parsons told y'all what we told y'all, that they weren't supposed to be able to get him. That wasn't right. And he is, like, defensive tackle is also supposed to be one of those positions where the transition to NFL football takes a while.
It has.
Jalen Carter, when you go look up pass rush metrics, like, he's with Micah and Myles Garrett. Like, that's how often he pressures and wins. Yeah. Jalen Carter is an effing problem.
Yeah.
And, they got 2 good edge dudes. So I think you got to beat them by making plays in the passing game. Yeah. And that means that I need Terrence Steele and Tyler Biotish. I need your best game, because both of you have had some problems with it. And I'm going to need your best.
I think tempo hurts them. I would like to see Mike maybe use some tempo, maybe first down on the ball quick, little things like that. I know that Jordan Davis, because believe it or not, they still play Fletcher Cox a lot, Jeff.
Yeah. He's still pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad.
They got some guys that aren't what they were, but what they are, pretty good.
Yeah, and listen, number 1 rush defense in the league. They're only giving up 65 yards a game.
Actually, Dallas has a better overall defense, but their rush defense, Philly's rush defense, is really good. The back end, Jeff, I couldn't agree with you more. People won't talk about this because Bradbury's been so bad. but Slay really hasn't been that guy. Huh, Jeff?
Nope, he hadn't.
And so I think that
Their dirty little secret is they don't have a single corner that's played real good football this year.
and I think this may I always get scared when Dak starts getting into the 40 attempt range because that's where I like Dak. I only think there's about 2 quarterbacks who can live that way. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen at times, but their offense starts to get really goofy at times as well. And then Joe Burrow.
Can I ask you a non-Cowboys question just for fun?
Talk to me.
Just because I was thinking about it the other day.
Yeah.
Because we've all watched a lot of Josh Allen, and he got crowned because he almost beat Pat Mahomes one time. And then Justin Herbert I don't know when he got crowned, but it was definitely too soon.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow got crowned, and that one might be rightfully so. But then he was hurt and playing football, and that looked bad for a while.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to name another guy because I think he's my answer. Who's the second best quarterback in football, and how confident are you in your answer? Because they've crowned like 6 different dudes that didn't earn it.
And that goes back to your original question about extending Dak because
it's not Dak for me either. It's Lamar Jackson for me.
Yeah.
It's Lamar for me. And my confidence level is like, I don't know, 20%. Then it goes to the teams in the NFL and week to week and the quarterback rankings. It's all, I don't know, ask me in 2 weeks.
But you know what's so crazy? The reason why I said it goes back to your point about Dak because, dog, nobody has really pulled away. And guess what? Mahomes doesn't look like Mahomes with what? Without his guys. With the Kelsey who's running around with Taylor Swift and a bad knee.
I can't believe they didn't trade for a receiver.
Well,
they're just like, this is what you got. Go.
And that's going to hurt them because now the one thing that I think that people aren't talking about with Kansas City is that defense is really good. That back end is really good. I don't know if, casual fans know, but like they are really, really good. But back to the Cowboys, Jeff, that's a great question. I mean,
just a sidebar because I was thinking about it and I was just like, all these different dudes that have been crowned, who is behind Pat? And then I'm like, watching this season so far, Lamar, but nobody talks about him like that anymore.
I mean, Jalen Hurts. This is no knock on Hurts. They crown Hurts as the a top 5.
He got crowned for a minute, and now I
he's
think
leading the league in interceptions.
He lives right where Dak lives at number 8-ish.
He lives, and the thing with Hurts is they just have an unfair offensive line. What I mean by that is, and this is not a knock on the player because I think Hurts is really good. If you don't have a D line like ours, the Jets, I like Tennessee up front. I think people don't talk enough about Tennessee's D-line, at least. But if you don't have a D-line that could rush with 4 and get home consistently, Jeff, it's so tough to beat Philly because Hurts can stay on his first read, and his first read is normally A.J. Brown. And oh, by the way, if you don't have a decent corner, A.J. Brown's just going to bully your corner. So I guess this will segue. Let's talk about this Philly offense, Jeff, and then I'll let you go because I know you got to get ready for a Texas Rangers parade, Jeff. Golly. Are you going?
No, I got to work tomorrow. And it's in Arlington, which is about 30 minutes. And since it's a parade and they're going to shut stuff down, it's probably more like an hour from where I'll be doing my show. And our show is from 2 to 6. The parade's at like 11.
Yeah.
So, no.
Will you get to do any Texas Rangers celebrating?
Yeah. We've named 97.1 The Freak remote broadcast at Pluckers in Dallas tomorrow is your official, according to us, place to go after the parade and drink beer.
Man, Jeff has the coolest job. I can't thank Jeff enough because he's in the industry and he takes time to talk to the little people like me. Jeff.
Oh, little people, my ass.
Jeff, what's your overall thoughts of Jalen Hurts? Because I have mine, but before we get to this offense as a whole, are you in, out on Hurts? How good is he? I have mine, and I'm not going to hold back, but
I think he's good. I think he falls in and they all do. They all do. Here's another dirty little secret of the NFL. Like, there's lots of stuff that I think are worthwhile in measuring how quarterbacks play, lots of numbers and things.
Yeah.
But every single one of them is also influenced by who is on your team.
Yeah.
Like if you want to use EPA per play, which sure, I dig it. I like it. But if you have a great offensive line and great wide receivers, I promise you're going to do good unless you suck.
Yeah.
I think Hurts is better than people thought he was initially, and worse than people thought he was a year ago. And I think you can go to things like, I don't have it in front of me this year, and as I told you, my mouse cursor doesn't work, so I can't look anything up right this second. But I enjoy sorting things by show me 3rd and 7 or longer and tell me how quarterbacks perform.
Not good.
And Jalen Hurts, it's not good.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a part of things, but he is in a situation where they don't find themselves in that scenario.
I was just about to say that they don't let him get there.
And so he's good. He's good. But if you tell me that he has to survive with, I would say even a lot of these games, what Dak has done, there's been a lot of the coaching staff putting them in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. Oh, here's a 3rd and 11. And and Jalen Hurts probably isn't going to convert those plays.
Jets game,
not as regularly.
Jets game.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Hurts is good. He throws it better than people who think he can't throw. He reads it better than people who think he can't read a defense. But to anybody who moved him up to like, this is one of the best quarterbacks. Yeah. If you tell me it's always going to be 2nd and 5 and 3rd and 2, Jalen Hurts is balling. But you give me 3rd and 7, and there's probably 15 other guys I want.
Yeah. Including Dak Prescott. He's one of the guys that I want. Easily. So I think one of the things that's happened with Jalen Hurts, and it happens when you run an RPO-based scheme, and that's over 60% of your offense, or it was last year. The transition real time to becoming a true progression passer, it can be really slow, and it can also just completely mess you up, and you just not make it to that point. The reason why Dallas is able to pivot and completely, I wouldn't say flip their whole offense in the season, but the reason why Mike is able to do certain things is because Dak he wasn't handicapped by what, Jeff? By having RPOs. And you see last week against Washington, who's a bad secondary, they just RPO'd the hell out of the game because you're dealing with a secondary, Jack Del Rio. They're not communicating on the back end. They have Forbes. They have St. Juice. Just guys who aren't top-end guys, right? They don't run a top-end scheme. Well, you try some of that stuff against Dan Quinn, and you try to, be vanilla, and you heard Micah talk about RPO. RPO is more about players. It's not about the play. And he's right. Well, now you try that stuff against Bland, who will get you if you just try to run that slant and that peak and that check with me and all those types of things. Well, guess what? That plays right in Dallas's hands. So they got him with that a lot last year. Show ball, have A.J. Brown sneak underneath the formation, get him in space. You're not going to get him. You're not going to get Dallas with that again. Right. But I think the problem is that they're having this year is, okay, when you play a Jets team who's well coached, who they're not going to just fly upfield. They're just going to push the pocket. They're going to change the pre-snap. They'll have it pre-snap look one way, and then post-snap the information changes on the back end. Mind you, this is without Sauce Gardner. Mind you, I think they had DJ Reed out as well. Now, the information that Hurts got was, oh, crap, I got to get it too. Uh-oh, the rush is coming. Ball out. Flushed out of the pocket, no gain. Flushed out of the pocket, interception. And this was against also an offense who really wasn't stressing them out or stressing that defense out. And so that's the issue. That's the part where I tell Cowboys fans, this is how you attack Jalen Hurts. Okay? You take away that first read and you play football. It's easier said than done because of how good A.J. Brown is, though.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. It's easier said than done, and it's also you have to be able to do that without doing that so aggressively that it ends up murdering you. Because what happens, I think, is when you do that sort of stuff and you're saying, okay, it's an RPO offense and he's going to take the snap, he's going to put it in the running back's gut, he's going to stare at the linebacker steps up, I'm throwing the slant to A.J. Brown, done. First of all, A.J. Brown's big and strong as hell. It might work on its own. But second, they'll also throw a fly to A.J. Brown. And so it's like, if you're going to do that, you got to either have the plan that we know who's going to be buzzing underneath the slant so that the corner can be playing a deep third, or we are going to let our corners play that aggressive and we're going to actually have two deep so there's safety over that half. But that's all. I mean, that's all what football is, right? It's that chess game of what am I going to do because of what I think you're going to do, and what are you going to do about what I'm going to do to what you did. And that's the fun part. That's the fun part is how does that play out? Because I think that's a really fun matchup is how do you deal with AJ Brown? Because I think he is number one. What do we take away from their offense? AJ Brown, number one, whichever way you want to do it. And the answer is probably to mix it up and not let them know, is the corner going to be the over the top guy and we're going to buzz underneath that thing? Or is the corner going to jump the hell out of the underneath and have help over the top? And you mix and match those things and you hope you get pressure and then you can beat the Eagles.
Jeff, great stuff. I'm going to tell you this. One of the things that I said all week was Malik Hooker has to have a game, and here's why. Some of those throws in the Washington game, a good safety is over the top on those, Jeff. I mean, he's leaving the ball out. Poor Forbes gets beat. I mean, a good safety, and they put that trust in Hooker. It's got Hooker a few times this year, right, Jeff? But then there's also been times where he's over the top. We saw it a lot last year where he just doesn't get fooled. You need him to play good football. I don't believe that Dallas is going to let AJ Brown beat them. I just don't see Dan Quinn not using resources. I think that now what's going to have to happen is who's going to chase Devontae Smith all over the field, because that's the one for me. If it was for me, I owe Jay Lou an apology. I would like to see that matchup. I would like to see Jordan Lewis running around with Devontae Smith. I know they won't do it because he's primarily in the slot, but like, that's who I think can run with him outside of Bland, but Bland is not playing on the edge. What does that do for you, Jeff?
I think it's hard. I just think I haven't watched their offense to look for this in particular, but well, and you know what? RPO based usually means you're not one of the higher motion teams. I think what makes it hard is
they don't motion a lot.
Okay, because then you could try whatever you want in that case, because what I always think about when it's like, oh, I'd have so-and-so covering so-and-so and so-and-so covering so-and-so. I'm like, of course you would, until they go in motion. And then you're like, oh, now what?
Yeah, because I mean, like, with San Fran, they did all that pre-snap. That's not what Philly is. They don't do all that stuff.
I would want Stephon Gilmore covering AJ Brown and Deron Bland covering Devontae Smith. That's what I would want.
Well, so I think that I don't think either corner is going to travel.
Right.
That's what I know.
No, and they won't. They'll play. It'll be Bland, Gilmore, Lewis. But if I got to draw it up, I'm going to put my old wily vet on this big, strong son of a biscuit and believe that he can aggressively cover a slant and not give up a bomb. And he's kind of long-ish and annoying at the line of scrimmage. And then Deron Bland, I want covering the route runner because the route runner is younger, and young people need to be chasing young people.
I don't know if you guys can see this graphic, but I know we're talking about DBs, but this is the top pass rush combinations for each team, but the most effective when rushing for this season. And the Cowboys are number one with Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong. Jeff, I just wanted to put that out there because I think all this AJ Brown talk, all this talk, right? To me, Jeff, you need your guys to be guys, Jeff. Like, Micah didn't have a good game last year in Philly. Micah needs to have a good game this year in Philly, Jeff. Like, all this DB, AJ Brown, who guards who talk goes out the window if 11's getting home. Jeff, how are you rushing 11 this week? You talk to me. Thank you, April Showers, for the super chat. Thank you, everybody who's hanging in. This is a banger. This is a banger, Jeff. This is a banger. Jeff, how are you rushing 11? Because what happened last year is they kind of took advantage of Micah's aggressiveness, especially in the first game.
I rush them from all over the place. I think the advantage, or not advantage, but I mean, the Eagles have a really good offensive line.
I know.
The best part of their offensive line is the left tackle and the right tackle.
Both tackles.
And so as a pass rusher, when you're rushing from the outside, first of all, beat them.
Yeah.
But second of all, let's find out who's playing right guard for them. because they had Juergens was limited today, coming off of IR, and his backup is also banged up.
Yeah.
So let's see who's playing right guard, and
spam them.
And I love attacking that way too, where you just occupy other gaps and you say, "Hey, Micah, have fun. Walk up to that guy and let him know I'm coming right here, me and you, in this little area." I love when he destroys people up the middle. It's so much fun to watch. But no, I think it's just your run of the mill, sometimes left, sometimes right, a decent amount of the time. Put him straight down Broadway and see if anybody can deal with him that way. They have a good offensive line. And this is a game where, Micah Parsons, Tank Lawrence. You put up the graphic. Who's the other two on that package? Dorrance Armstrong.
Lawrence. And it was
Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler. Who's sneaky good.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, we talk about you guys as the best pass rush unit in football. Well,
be that.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Earn it. Because this is about as good a pass protection as we're going to see. It's a team that we're going to have to beat if you want to go win the East. It's a team you probably had to beat again if you want to play in the NFC title game or in the Super Bowl. And so they have a good offensive line. What you going to do about it? And I think Dan Quinn is up to the task. I think they're up to the task. What worries me is I don't always trust this team on things like basic ass RPO, where I feel like sometimes they either are planning too much or guys have no idea what they're doing. And it's like, man, we end up with a lot of just little blown stuff. So I think it's a big Dan Quinn day, and Dan Quinn getting whatever his plan is, that the guys do it and do it properly and effectively. Because I feel like a lot of times that doesn't happen when they have a running quarterback or a bunch of RPO stuff. And guys lose contain, and guys are attacking a quarterback when they're supposed to be dropping, and those sorts of things, they ain't gonna work against Philly.
I think, Jeff, now this is why I wanted to circle back to one of your comments earlier about a running quarterback. I think that's starting to trend down for Philly and Jalen Hurts. And now maybe somebody in the chat box can help me. I know a lot of my betting friends who have tried to hit on Jalen Hurts props for rushing. They haven't hit a lot this year. Now, like what you're saying with the knee, they don't use him to keep as much anymore. He's not run like last year and the year before was like a lot of you see Jalen Hurts with 60, 70 yards rushing.
Yeah.
You don't see that as much, Jeff. I said to one of my friends, I said, they can't beat us if he doesn't have runs, if he doesn't run the ball.
He's running it. Well, now this is going to throw it off a little bit, though, because they're tush pushing more than ever. So he's going to have a lot of 1-yard runs.
Yeah.
And so that probably throws it off a little bit. But I got him at 78 carries for 280. But I mean, hell, 20-something of that is probably the little 1-yarders.
The 1-yarder, the rest is like little scampers. But the design, I would like to know, Jeff, if you can find it, what are his design runs? Because I
think it's just polls. I think it's just on RPOs or on zone read, I guess. I think it's just pull and run. I don't think they're doing a much. I can't think of off the top of my head.
Reading that edge defender, keeping it. And which is cool. But here's my problem with that, Jeff. You doing that with a knee?
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, I would love it because if I'll say this, if you told me that Jalen Hurts is going to have no carries outside of tush pushes, I'm real confident the Cowboys beat the Eagles.
If you make him a pocket passer, you beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's what was my point.
And I don't know if I'm overall confident because I do think that part of it will be, and I don't know, maybe it's 2 times, 3 times, whatever. If Jalen Hurts is not a run threat, the Cowboys will beat the Eagles.
That was one. Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, because I really, so my thing is this right here, Jeff. I think that what's happened now is the offense is kind of like the numbers are great, but what's happened is this, Jeff. If we know, and Jeff knows, and the whole world knows, you want to get the ball to A.J. Brown, that just doesn't work against good defenses. That'll work against the 32nd ranked Washington Commanders, but that won't work against a team like the Jets, who actually have a really good defense That's why that win in early on against the Jets that Dallas had was impressive. That won't work against the Cowboys. It shouldn't. But like you said, we're now getting back to the trust factor. Do you trust this team? Big game. I do in this game. I really believe if they try to force the ball to A.J. Brown over and over consistently, I think that Hurts will. And now we got to talk about he's second in the league in interceptions. I think that he'll turn the ball over. And I think that that's where Dallas can get them because what does Dallas do best? They turn people over. So those are just my thoughts overall on the offense. What's the one thing that Dallas can't let happen, Jeff? And it could be ugly.
Jalen Carter lives in Dak Prescott's kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one, I think. I mean, you're going to get some pressure from Reddick and Sweat. Like those things happen. And it's easier for a quarterback to handle that if it's from the outside and I can slide through.
Step up, see gap.
Yeah, when the dude coming down Broadway is in your lap, it's a problem. So Tyler Biadasz and the men on both sides of him.
Tyler Smith got to play good football, Jeff.
Yeah. And Jalen Carter's been a problem. As a rookie, he is a huge problem. And, I mean, he's not even alone, obviously. Jordan Davis is a good player. Fletcher Cox is still a solid at getting into the backfield. To me, it is tell me if they're getting pressure up the middle, and I'll tell you if we got problems.
Yeah.
Because outside I can live. Now, I can't live if Terrence Steele is a turnstile.
Yeah.
But if you're getting some pressure and Dak sacked twice on Sunday,
you're
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
You live.
But if Jalen Carter is living in his lap, that's the problem. Don't let him be that problem.
I can guarantee you this. If you block them, you will move the ball in the passing game. Sidney Brown, I watched the film, Jeff. You go back and watch that. He's just awful over the middle field. And I liked him coming out, but I think he's a safety. They're playing him as a nickel. Can't do that. You just against our guys, you can't do that. And I know you're not happy with the receivers, Jeff. I'm good. Two Eyes coming in with the notes saying that, hey, Tyler Smith got time. I think that Tyler Smith does have time. I think that Tyler Smith and Jalen Carter is a good matchup. I think that Jalen Carter may get him quickness-wise, but I think strength. Let me tell you something. Tyler Smith had some reps against Aaron Donald that I said, okay.
Oh, I don't know that there's anybody in the NFL that I worry about is going to line up and overpower Tyler Smith.
Yeah,
and that includes Jalen Carter. No, it's more of the
quickness.
If you let those two get one-on-one, I don't think Jalen Carter is going to try to dump truck him. I think he'll use power once he's won leverage one way or the other. But no, I know Tyler's. I don't have concerns about Tyler Smith. Period. When he plays guard.
Yeah.
I don't worry about Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
I only worry about Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah. Tyler's light. Biadasz is light, and that's gonna be the issue. But I think that one of the things, even covering Jordan Davis, early on, they struggle with conditioning. That's why he didn't play a lot of reps at Georgia. They also
big as hell, man.
He's a big guy. You know what, too? I don't know if they stun a lot. That wasn't something that I was really looking for. I do know that they play with 5 down linemen a lot. So it'll look like a 3-4. Then Reddick will just walk down. Brandon Graham will just walk down. The thing is, they don't really
probably means they stun a lot because the Rams, and I'm going to just totally make crap up without having a reference point or a number to back it up.
Yeah.
Because the Rams kind of do the same stuff where Aaron Donald lines up over a tackle and they'll show 5, but only 4 are coming, and you got to figure out which one. Yeah. And the reason you're doing that is because you're trying to play games, and then you're trying to bring Aaron Donald around underneath. But I don't know the numbers on that. But if teams that line up with 5, I feel like you are going to get a lot of that stuff. But also, the Eagles are a really good run defense, and I don't think stunt-happy teams end up being really good run defenses very often.
Yeah.
Because you're not sitting at home. So my wild guess with no information is that the Eagles are not a stunt-happy team, at least on first and second down. But that would also require me to Google things, and my mouse cursor doesn't work.
And Jeff's mouse cursor doesn't work. Jeff, his mouse cursor doesn't work. Jeff, thank you so much, man. I know you got a lot to do tomorrow. I know you're going to be getting ready for this game, but you're also going to be celebrating the Texas Rangers winning, man. Jeff, this has just been a great check-in, dude. Wow. gave these people an hour of content with no mouse.
Oh, did that happen? Yeah, I did that. No mouse, no references. I just have to talk. I just have to make crap up. But that's okay. I do radio. It's what I do for 4 hours every day. I make crap up with nothing to back it up. And that's what I like doing. No, but I love it. Like since getting back into the radio game, I obviously don't do nearly as much on the YouTube and stuff. I just kind of do my twice a week with Jesse, and that's fun and it's great. I wish I was still doing more stuff because it was a blast starting to do a lot of YouTube stuff and getting to know you and Vach and Sky and other people, but you, Vach, and Sky are the top three. And it's fun. I like hanging out with you guys. I like working with you guys. You guys do a really, really good job. And there's a lot of people in, I don't know what you call it, big media or credentialed media that don't do the job for Cowboy fans. Like, not the beat writers. Like, the beat writers do a really good job. Todd Archer's great. Michael Gelkin's great. John Machota is great. Yeah. But in terms of like putting in work to get to know the other teams and talking about the players and the matchups and all these different things, you guys do, all of you do a really, really good job at it. And it's a good service for the Cowboys community. So suck it, world. I always have fun.
And just get ready for draft season because you guys already see me and Jeff. We could probably do a draft show right now, but
I would be talking out of my ass. But I know the names and I know the top 5 or 10 players, and I do watch them on Saturdays. So like I know Keon Coleman is a baller.
Listen, Jeff ain't welcome to the cookout. He is the cookout. Jeff is family. You hear me? That is my guy. No, yeah, Keon Coleman. I think we're just football lunatics, Jeff, and it just is what it is. And like-minded people and just to have you on the channel, man, I think it's a great crossover. And I respect your work, dude. Like, whenever you tweet, whenever you say something, I listen, I tap in. If I want to fight you, I want to fight you. But 9 times out of 10, I don't want to fight you on certain things. Jeff, can you just leave me with one thing Dallas must do to win this game? Then I'll let you go, buddy. The one thing.
I just want to narrow it down to one. One thing they must. I've already talked about it too much, but I think it's the most important thing, and I think it's not close. Protect the quarterback. Give him a chance. Mm-hmm. You got to protect.
That's
the
one thing you're looking for. So that's everybody watching this, Pat and O.C. Walker is great too. If they get it blocked up, Jeff, you feel good.
Pat's a traitor though. Pat went big media. Pat's a traitor. He went big media he's with the team now. No, I love Patrick Walker to death. And if I had to go, I could even get more specific, which is cheating because I already said I'm worried about Tyler Biadasz. I need Terrence Steele to hold up.
That's good.
I need Terrence Steele to hold up against Reddick/Sweat. That's what has to happen.
You do that, you move the ball, Jeff. It's just that simple. Their secondary is what it is. I mean, they almost gave up 800 yards, 2 games to Washington.
Oh, I need Tyron Smith to play.
Sounds like he's going to. Aisha, is Tyron Smith playing? She's in the locker room. We got our own beat reporter here, Jeff.
Another traitor. She went to big media, working for the team. Oh, Aisha's awesome. I love the podcast. It's great.
If Tyler Smith plays, and it sounds like he's going to, although Jeff, I was gonna talk myself into Chuma, but no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna.
Hey, it's okay to be surprised that he was functional, but I don't want him to be trying to be functional against.
That's exactly, listen to me. When I see Chuma, I'm like, okay, Chuma. Oh no, Chuma. Oh, hey, Chuma. Oh no. But
Chuma survived,
dude. He did it. You know what? He did a little bit more to survive. Listen, Voss was trying to talk us into the game. I'm saying, I don't know, dog.
I'm sorry. He was trying to what?
I won't repeat it, Jeff.
Like keep him in and keep Tyron. Tyron Smith is still really good at football when he's available. Y'all need to stop trying to get rid of him. You just build your team as if he doesn't exist. That's how you build it.
That's what you
until he's gone. While he's here, every time he says I can play, you put his ass at left tackle because he is still good at it.
You let him rock. Listen, this has been a great show, man. Jeff Cavanuagh. We'll get this loaded up to Jeff's channel as well. Jeff Cavanuagh from 97.1 The Freak.
Freaky. I love you, Foots.
Hey, love you too, man. I'm going to let you go. You guys enjoy the rest of this Thursday night. Stinker. I think our show was better than the game. Oh. I don't know if they're even watching it, Jeff. All right, y'all. Peace.